Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Irish Golfer Podcast, brought to you in association with Flowgas. Ronan McNamara here with you, and the amateur season has just come to an end over the last couple of weeks. We had the Kerry Cup in Portmarnock, just bringing the curtain down on another brilliant season for Irish amateur golf. And on Irish amateur golf, I'm joined by a very special guest. He's won the 2018 South of Ireland, the 2019 West of Ireland, the East of Ireland Championship last year, and just under a month ago completed the Provincial Slam, the Compass as it was once called, up in Portstewart. He won the North of Ireland Championship. It is now a legend of Irish amateur golf, although he mightn't admit it himself. Caolan Rafferty. Caolan, thanks for coming in and joining us today.
Thanks a million for having me. Thank you.
Are you a legend of Irish amateur golf?
Definitely not. No. I just play golf and happen to get a couple of trophies at the end of it.
We spoke in Portstewart literally right after you hold the winning putt on the 18th green to win by a shot, and you were surrounded by family, and even some players in the groups ahead stayed by to watch such a historic moment. And you said at the time you were shocked that it had happened. You've had a month now to mull over it. You've had the World Amateur Team Championships season's coming to an end. Time to reflect. Has it sunk in now?
Yeah, it's still a bit mad. If the truth was known that no one has done it before. I actually only spoke on the phone to someone yesterday, and we kind of still said the same thing, that can't believe no one's done it yet. But again, to have that now after my name is a nice feeling, even though I'm still trying to figure it all out.
Were you aware of that situation, that nobody had done it? I know you were aware of it on the week of the championship, but actually during the season, had it crossed your mind at all?
It kind of been mentioned to me a couple of times about was I going to play the North, because I wasn't sure if I was actually going to play it. But it just happened to be that work and everything else worked out nicely for me to play it that week. So it had been mentioned to me kind of midway through the season, all right, that if you got to play the North, there'd be a chance to do it. And as I say, it wasn't the main reason I went, but it was definitely one of the reasons that definitely stuck to go and play it and give myself a chance of trying to do it.
Did it feel like you thought it would feel when you eventually won?
Yeah, well, it was definitely more nerve-wracking than I thought I would ever experience. I would be one for kind of keeping calm and chilled most of the time, but definitely I was bouncing around that golf course for that last 18 holes, different scenarios running through your head, and trying to focus on golf was nearly a secondary thing.
I think probably the key point of that tournament was maybe your first round. I mean, you're out first in the morning in some dreadful conditions, and you still think you posted 3 under 68, and you just led from there. Like, you weren't caught. You really did give yourself a foothold in the tournament right from the get go.
Yeah, like, I hadn't played Portstewart in years, so the first morning with the weather being as bad as it was might have been a godsend, because it was really just keep the ball in play and chip it round, and held a few nice putts sort of midway through it. But it was a very unlike me round the golf in birdie bogey sort of scenario. But definitely, as you say, kind of put me in the position from the get go, and never really looked back then.
Like, I don't think anybody enjoys playing in those tough conditions, but like when you look at yourself and everyone, like, you ask any of the amateurs, your peers, and say who do they fancy in conditions like that, a lot of them would say you, and I'm sure you know that as well. Like, do you relish when sort of the going gets tough and you have to knuckle down and grind it out?
Yeah, like, we'd obviously like to play golf in shorts and the t-shirt more than we would in the wind and rain, but it's one of them things where you just kind of, you have to get on with it, accept that you're going to get wet. And as I say, I wouldn't be one for wetsuits and that, so it's just a real case of whatever it'll be at the end of the day, and you just have to deal with it, I suppose, get on with it.
And going back to that final round, the last hour and a half, 2 hours, I mean, there was a lot of players snapping at your heels at that stage, and I think things maybe just weren't going your way. I know you bogeyed 15, I think it was, and you parred 16, so you were a little bit frustrated at the time, I'm sure. And then there was a bit of a delay on the 17th tee, and I brought it up to you at the time. You took a little glance to your right, and there's your family and your 9-month-old daughter as well, and just seemed to be a little glint in your eye then, and you sort of settled down. You're like, right, there's a moment in time there where the switch kind of seemed to flick again, and you went on to birdie that, and obviously got the job done in 18 with the par. Like, that was a key moment as well.
Yeah, I think looking back on it now, probably the putt in 16 was the biggest one, because I hit an awful first putt, left myself that kind of 5-6 foot range that I kind of said to myself, well, if this doesn't go in, the likelihood of you winning this tournament is very, very slim. And even at the stage when I did hold it, it was still a case playoff could be on the cards, because obviously 17 and 18 aren't that easy of a finish. But as you kind of say, yeah, kind of seen out of the corner of my eye who was there, and the caddy, in fairness, Kyle, he was good to me all years, all throughout the year, to say caddy's a regular. So he just kind of said, "Come on, win it now," instead of letting it go on too much longer.
And we've got the 4 trophies sitting behind you here, and Maisie seems to fit in the north pretty nice. She kind of stole the show with the post-round photographs as well, but that's really nice to have. Like, she obviously won't remember it now, but you know, in 5-10 years time when you're both looking back, she'd be like, "Oh, I was there and what Dad did was pretty cool."
Yeah, like that's the thing that kind of speak about that a wee bit with Stuart recently, and when he won Irish Am and having the child there, it's a class feeling to be able to do that now, because it's not something you ever had before. And obviously it changes your life a lot. So to have these moments are going to be nice to look back in the future and see it.
Yeah, you're not supposed to play good golf after you've had a child either. Like, what's going on?
I just have to get out of the house a bit more. It's that or changing nappies, so I'll probably played a bit more golf than I should be. But no, even at that, as I say, it's just changing your whole outlook on what a tournament is. A lot more relaxed, especially when they're with you. Had the two of them down, Haley and Maisie down at the South this year, and had a quite good run there as well. So they might have to come to a few more tournaments next year.
Yeah, you losing the South final, and you just said there's a changed outlook on your life. Would losing to Jonathan Keane in that final hurt more maybe 1 or 2 years ago compared to when it would have done in July?
Yeah, maybe so. Like, I know coming away from Lynch, it was a better pill to take in one sense, but again, it's not easy to give yourself these opportunities, and I was quite happy, as I said, to actually rang Colin Campbell on the way home and said, if someone said to me at the start of the week, you'll be in the final and you might be betting 18, but you have a chance, I would have take hand and all for it. As I say, Johnny played the better golf that week or that day, held the putts when he needed to, and I struggled at the start, but like I say, it was an opportunity, and who's to say if I won it, would I have played the North and not be in the position I'm in now?
Exactly, and winning on 18 then as well in Portstewart, and all your family were there for the whole day, and getting to celebrate with them, because it doesn't happen too often. And as you said, like, they play a huge role in you being able to do what you do as well, that support system.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, they travelled all around the country this year to any tournaments I was in. They were in Lahinch. They've been the ones, as I kind of said as well, probably keeping me where I am. Would I still be playing all these championships? Potentially not. So Haley always eggs me on to play them and keep doing what I'm doing. Right, there might be days which you'd be giving out that I'm away to a tournament, but at the same time would be very much backing me and continuing on. So I do owe a lot to them in what has happened to me over my career, but definitely even more so in the last number of years, probably just keeping me interested in playing them.
Yeah, because the schedule is absolutely hectic, and aside from the Irish tournaments, there's, you're playing for Ireland as well. There's a couple of championships abroad too. Like, I know you're amateurs, but you're basically playing a pro schedule.
Yeah, like your time for holidays and time for downtime is quite limited, especially when you're working full time as well. It's annual leave to take you these places, so they have to be very understanding that a day off for me is going to be on a golf course at a tournament potentially, which, as I say, they have been. So
how do you make that work? You mentioned the working amateur, like you're working with Ping now this year and doing quite well, as you said, with being able to get that time off and have those opportunities, because making it work as the working amateur is all part of the game as well.
Yeah, like it's been a tricky one to balance, in the sense that when I was kind of working on the course, there was a little bit more flexibility with the lads, because it was obviously in the golf club, and if my boss there didn't let me have a day off to play a tournament, he'd have to listen to the members giving out to him. But yeah, it's something that is a challenge, but at the same time, well used to doing it now, all of a sudden over the last 2 years, we're able to make it work quite easy. But don't get me wrong, the practice side of things suffer. Even just as I always say, my social 9 holes in the evenings have definitely dwindled away, between not feeling it when I come home because I just want to spend time with the child, or just not having time to do it.
But you wouldn't be, a range rat as it's called anyway. So maybe that aspect of it all suits you as well. Like, where does your motivation then, and I suppose maybe that competitive edge, where do you get that from, considering you wouldn't be the biggest one for practicing? Is it just literally, when I get a scorecard in my pocket, it's a different game?
Yeah, like, I've always kind of played golf as golf, learn how to get around the golf course in as few shots as possible. And yeah, it's just, as I say, you do it for that long, the competitiveness just seems to be ingrained in you. Again, another conversation I've had with Colin recently is that he's the most competitive man I know that just can't stop. And it's like, you keep saying you're going to stop doing it, but once the tournament's on and you enter it thinking I might go, and all of a sudden you're there, or you just get the juices flowing and you want to give the best account of yourself, because you're not going to these places just for the sake of it.
Yeah, like competing and getting those juices flowing, it is like a drug in every sense, a good sense as well.
Yeah. No, that's it. Like, it drags you to keep going back. And I say this game, when it's good, it makes it more enjoyable. So lucky enough that the tournaments went my way. This was definitely an enjoyable day on the golf course.
And going back then to maybe the start of your amateur career, when you first got into the championships and started competing, like, did you ever set out to do what you've done, complete the Provincial Slam as it's called now? Because when you're an elite amateur, everybody assumes it's just a step on the road to turning pro. So you might win a couple of championships and then decide, right, I'll try my hand at the pro ranks. Whereas you stayed amateur throughout your career. So was it more of just circumstances led you to this rather than you setting out?
Yeah, like, as I say, COVID was probably the biggest thing back in 2019 after Walker Cup. I had the choice to make. Had to finish my college degree, was kind of what I said I was going to do. I wasn't going to waste 2.5 years just to throw in the last few months of it. So that held me up, and then COVID came, we were locked down, there was no Q schools, there was no, in my opinion at the time, there was no main reason to turn pro because there was nothing to play in. Now, having said that, I see the lads that did turn pro at that time doing quite well now. James and Connor obviously flying, which is great to see. But for me at the time, it was just a decision I made to not do it. And then obviously it went that long that it went out of my head nearly completely, and amateur golf was just what I was going to do.
And when COVID comes along, it's obviously a lot of time for thinking. You decided to not to make the jump. Like, was there work and family reasons involved in that as well, or were you at a different stage in your life?
Like, I wasn't at the time. I wasn't working. I was just in college, living the dream, as I call it. Playing golf in the summer and heading back to college then for the winter. But it was a decision then I had to make. Look, I'm moving on in years. What am I going to do here? I have my college degree. Am I going to use it? Which turned out I didn't use it at all. I went greenkeeping. But it was something that I had to decide on. And as I say, kind of fell into the greenkeeping with a phone call to help the lads out. And from that, I've got to where I am now, working with Ping.
Did you enjoy the greenkeeping?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. Obviously, on days like today when it's lashing outside, it wouldn't be the most enjoyable one, but it was great crack with the lads. You took a lot of pride in what you done, representing or putting the golf course in its best suit. Yeah, it was a lot of self-pleasure, I suppose, in doing what you done at work.
And that would have been during COVID as well. So you were actually able to go outside, which a lot of people weren't allowed to do. And did it maybe bring you in touch with how, maybe give you an appreciation with how lucky you are to be able to play the game as well?
Yeah, like, it was a big thing for me that I got, as you say there, I got out of the house during lockdown and I could work and was making money that was going to help me go play tournaments then the following year whenever we did get back to it. But also it was like an insight to life has to move on and you do have to grow up at some point. So having that job was a big help to me, sort of, for shaping where I got to, as I say, today, because I'm quite a laid-back character and work was never something that I was always considering. I kind of just floated through life a lot when I was younger, so it probably put a bit more structure in place for me to follow then.
If you hadn't actually worked during that time, do you think maybe you'd have actually scratched that itch for the pro game if you'd gone back?
Like, again, I don't really know if I would or wouldn't. As I say, the decision was nearly made for me in one sense, so I'm very much when something's sort of set in stone, that's me. Very hard to change my mind back to it. And I also then kind of, after taking a bit of time off, probably felt in my own head that I was a bit off the mark anyway to make it in the pro ranks and to make a living at it. I wasn't one that was going to kind of be keen on the journeyman and playing the smaller tours, which absolutely you should be doing to get a foot into the pro ranks. But as I say, I was thinking of my age and thinking of where I wanted to get in life, and it probably wasn't the best option for me anyway at that stage.
Yeah, would you say that maybe your game is better suited to links golf? Obviously, with the championships that you've won, it obviously is. But in pro golf, links golf is a 2-3 times a year kind of a gig.
Yeah, like look, we play that much links golf now. It's all we know in one sense. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy Parkland whenever I do get the chance to play it. But obviously, all our competitions, you've played all your life on a links course, so you suit your game nearly to suit the course at times, and potentially, I would have been caught out when I go to these bigger courses, which over the years at certain events I've noticed myself kind of a little bit off the mark when I go to these places. So, as I say, it may not have even been for me anyway.
Is that a difficult thing to adjust your mind to? As you said, like when you go to a certain golf course and right, this doesn't suit me. Is that a difficult thing for you to get over, actually?
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's proven probably a little bit more than it should. Again, leave tournaments knowing myself that I probably didn't give the best account of myself when I go to these bigger, tougher golf courses. But again, it's certain times you obviously play well in some of them as well, and you're kind of saying the opposite, leaving it. So it's just maybe a more recent event I played that's kind of sticking in my head over that one, that I was caught out a little bit. But again, golf game needs a little bit of work anyway, so we'll see what the winter brings on that side of it.
Yeah, will you work hard in your game now over the winter? I know you're not the biggest practicer, but will you actually, knuckle down for a couple of months?
Kind of made a decision this year that I'm going to do a little bit. Obviously, with everything that's coming up next year, look, let's be real about it. It should be a nice one to, as I kind of say, nearly sign off on your amateur career in one sense, whether it be just not playing or taking a bit more of a back seat after it. But I absolutely want to give it a run next year. Give the best account of myself, give the best version of myself, and see, is it enough to potentially play a Walker Cup in a golf course that I absolutely love. So I've kind of contacted my old coach back, Dougie's back on board, and get a few lessons and try and get this sorted over the winter now and hit the ground running in the new year.
Yeah, get the band back together.
Yeah, absolutely.
The reunion tour.
The reunion.
But you mentioned Lahinch, and I think everyone is so unbelievably excited about the Walker Cup there next year. If anybody is thinking about going, you absolutely should. It's held the Palmer Cup there. It's obviously held the South every single year, and some of the match play moments that it produces are just absolutely sensational. Like, you came out on the wrong side of one recently, but it just seems like the perfect golf course to serve up just so much drama, and with some of the best amateurs in the world as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be class as well in terms of the golf club itself. They're very proud of what they are and what they can host. The people in Lahinch are unbelievable. They look after you from the minute you arrive as well. So I think it's all shaping up to be an absolutely amazing event.
And what would it mean to actually represent Great Britain and Ireland on Irish soil? I know you played Walker Cup in 2019, but this would surely be just another step up in just class.
Yeah, it'll be, like I say, I'm not going to be the only Irishman busting a gut next year to try and make that team. And I see Dean's been reappointed as the captain, so he's going to have plenty of headaches, no doubt, next year with the amount of Irish lads that's going to be hitting the ground running. But yeah, that'll be, as I say, partially why I'm interested in actually doing a bit more than I normally would do over the winter, is to give myself the best chance to do it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this time next year I'll have said I got to do it.
And even though maybe the Walker Cup in 23 and this one in 25, maybe they weren't on your radar, but you still managed to catch yourself on the fringes of that team, and that's really admirable in itself. And just going back to 2019 in Royal Liverpool, I think it was, yourself, Conor Purcell and James Sugar on the GB&I team came out on the wrong side of the result, unfortunately. But just talk about that experience if you could.
Yeah, it's class. Again, kind of chatted to Stewie and see how to get on with Cypress Point recently, that to see that he had the same feelings I had, which is it's the best week of your amateur career in one sense, that you get to meet up with lads that you don't actually really know, because it's a team that's made up of every other country in GB&I, obviously. So you get to experience that from a week out and sort of gelling with each other. And I say there's a lot of fun involved in it too. It's obviously a very serious competition, but there's sort of the fun aspect to it and really making it an enjoyable week. We got to play really good golf courses around High Lake that week as well, and getting to know your teammates, I says, because we don't get to do that too often, is a big thing. And as I say, they're team golf. Just getting to play team golf is always class. So it's definitely memories I have forever, and still the odd video pops up that I'll always watch back and just try and relive it a wee bit.
And it's nice to have, the memorabilia then back in Dundalk Golf Club as well, who've, to be fair, have looked after you so well over the years and really do embrace every success that you have.
Yeah, like there's a cabinet at the top of the stairs now, with everything still in it, and I say every time you go into the bar, you pass it, and as I say, I always look at it. Again, just to keep reminding myself of what it was, because I don't dwell on these things enough. Maybe I just kind of move on and go to the next thing. So it's nice to have that there. Every day you're in the club to see it.
Yeah, you love team golf. You're probably one of the bigger players who loves team golf more than most. Like, you've spoken to me on the phone countless times saying, I want to make the European team. I just love playing for Ireland. If I can be there in any use whatsoever, I'll absolutely do it. And you made the Eisenhower, which obviously wasn't on your radar at the start of the year. But what does it mean to put on the green jersey? And someone with so much experience like yourself, is the buzz still the same?
Yeah, it's nearly bigger now, because let's be real, you're coming towards the end of potential chances to do it. So every chance you do get, you want to take it with both hands and give the best account of yourself. But yeah, I always say once the call comes and you're asked to represent your country, you're never ever going to say no unless something drastic's happened. But yeah, I'll try and keep doing it for as long as I can.
And just on a broader scale of your career, if you were to look back now with the 4 titles, which of the 4 was the most difficult to win?
Probably the South, the get-go, especially with the match I had against Ronan. I was under pressure the whole day, and lucky enough, kind of got a chance after 18 to bring it to extra holes, and got it done on the 20th. But obviously, being the first one and also the only match play records haven't been fantastic for me in tournaments. That's for the other 3 who've been a stroke play win. So probably the South's the toughest. But then again, there's none of them easy, as I found out the hard way in the North.
Yeah, I mean, you won the West by 4 shots, which, given your rate, seems like a canter, but it definitely wasn't. You beat Rowan Lester on the 20th in the South, won the East by a shot, and that was just one of the most dramatic finishes I think you've ever seen. I mean, and then you won the North by a shot. Actually, just going back to the East, I actually hadn't intended to ask you about this, but I'll never forget when you 3-putted from the side of 18 and you just walked off absolutely distraught. You think you've blown it away, and you're sitting there on like one of these bales just beside the scoring hut, and people are coming up to you then saying, you're after winning because Max didn't birdie the last, and you're still kind of like, no, I haven't won it. Like, I just give you a minute. I need a minute till it's all confirmed, because you were convinced you lost it, and you come so close in the previous years too. You were thinking, I've lost it again here.
Yeah, I remember sitting on the bank with Haley, and I think my cousin was there, and I just said, like, can't believe I'm after doing it again. And obviously the word come up that Max didn't birdie 18, and I didn't want to believe it until it was confirmed in the score hut, and everyone then was kind of at me, and I was like, wait till it's announced from officials. I said, yous are all just lunatics running off the 18th green all excited. I said, want to make sure it is confirmed. And even after that, it still took a little while to sink in that it was done, because as you touched on, the 3-putt on 18 wasn't my finest moment. And that 18th hole in Baltray definitely owes me one in the future. It's cost me a few times, but I get plenty of slagging and abuse over it.
And just moving on sort of away from your career as an individual point of view, the state of play with the championships this year was a bit of a mad one, because some of the best players didn't really play. A lot of them, I think maybe our top players might play 1 or 2. You're a regular contender in them, to be fair. We couldn't fill the field for the close. I know they kept extending the deadline. Is it a case of like too much on, or is it where the golf courses actually are, or is it actually when they actually schedule them, like the Wednesday to Friday was the North? That doesn't suit a lot of people. Like, it's a juggling act, and there's probably no right answer to this, but like, what would be your take on it?
Yeah, there's no right way to do it. It's very hard, and I'm glad I'm not involved in the organising of them. But yeah, like in Ireland, where we've a lot of working amateurs, so potentially the Wednesday Friday scenario isn't the best option. It may have got a few more people if it was over a weekend, but then we have to ask a lot of golf clubs to give the golf course up, because it's going to be a full week if that's the case, because people will come down on the Wednesday for practice rounds and whatnot. So it's a tricky one to get right. What's kind of probably the biggest problem is there's that much golf available to people that on and off week, they don't want to play another tournament, which I've heard kind of in the background a lot when you're travelling. It's, I didn't really plan on playing that week, and it just happens to be the same week as one of our championships, which isn't ideal. But again, is it down to more than just the playing aspect? Is it Wagger? Is it that the field isn't getting it? Well, is the competition not getting the recognition it deserves from the high up hours? Is probably the bigger one. Like, lads want to play in the big events, but you can't get in if your world ranking's too low, and unfortunately the Irish events aren't getting the power ranking they deserve. And I know that goes in hand with players playing it, but I think that's something that's probably more important to get gel or to get ironed out, to sort that side of it.
Yeah, because there seems to be a skew towards the collegiate events in America. And look, that's fair enough. We have a lot of young players over there and they're going quite well, to be fair. But, you know, that balancing act of, can we get our best players back from college, you know, for the Irish Amateur? Can we keep them long enough so that we get all our big tournaments played before they go back? There is that sort of balancing act. But then you're nearly shoehorning everything into like 3 or 4 months, and that doesn't work either.
Yeah, like I remember a couple of years back, there was a conversation had with the unions of England, Scotland, Wales. It was all kind of, let's not sort of have any events competing with each other nearly. But as a result of that, then the dates that these events probably had and worked quite well years back have suffered because of that, because it's trying to be fair to every other nation and make sure every event, as you say, is getting the best field to compete with college events and the rankings they are getting. And then obviously with the way things have been picked now, your world ranking has a lot to say in it. Like even this year with Walker Cup, it was important for the players to have the best ranking possible because there was automatic picks. Now again, I'd say that's not going to be something that's going to last forever because it's not the best way to pick a team, really. I think the captains all agree on that, and most players will agree on that as well, that it's better the player that's informed than a player that just had a couple of good events. And it's easy to manipulate by the looks of it. I have no idea how, but I managed to stay inside top 300 from just playing very limited events, which me personally, it doesn't sit well with me. I don't think it's good, because if the truth was known, there's a lot of players ahead of me on that, and they're just not getting that opportunity to get the points on it.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, for neither of us are mathematicians
No,
here, so
no.
we definitely don't have the formula. But the Walker Cup then in Lahinch next year, would that help maybe bring our championships, you know, back to what they might have been or close in their pomp as well? Because players are going to have to start playing here and, you know, getting their names on the radar, and it would also help for the promotion of the events as well if we could have our Walker Cup hopefuls playing too.
Yeah, look, I reckon the South next year will be the biggest field it's been in a long time, which is only right. I know it was similar, maybe the North one year had a big field because the Homes was on it, or there was teams coming over. But yeah, it should help. We hope it helps, because we all want the best fields possible to play in. Obviously, you don't want it too strong to give yourself the best chance, but as a field, you do want it to have the best players in it. So fingers crossed, a few more lads come over and get to play a bit more golf in Ireland next year.
And where do you stand on, I suppose, the state of play in Irish amateur golf? Like, you're one of the elder statesmen now. I'm sure you don't want to admit that, but, you know, you said it to me at the North as well. Like, every time you tee it up, you know, there's 15, 16, 17-year-olds playing. You're like, where are they springing from? And they're becoming more prominent, I think, as well, because the last couple of years, a lot of lads in their early 20s have gone into the pro ranks. So we're nearly going through a transition period where we're waiting for that next crop of, you know, 19, 20-year-olds to bounce along as well.
Yeah, like, look, John Doyle's the best example. He's after being jet setting across the world for the last month, playing Junior Ryder Cup, playing Sawgrass. He's obviously someone that's just come on, and rightly so, he's playing really, really good golf. But there is a lot of them there, and from chatting to John, again, he knows them better than I'm going to know them. There is going to be a big crop coming through, which is, again, great for Irish golf because it's needed to get rid of us old folk.
You're sick of winning.
No, definitely not sick of winning. No.
But it is amazing. Like, you spoke about Collie, how competitive he is, and you as well. And, you know, we've had Peter O'Keefe over the years too. He came back and he won all around him. Stewie is probably the best example. He's been the poster boy this year. Like, it's amazing to see you lads in your 30s now, and you're still, you know, the cream of the crop. There's still, you know, that competitive edge, and you can't buy that. That just has to be in you as well.
Yeah, look, as I say, we just tee it up and play golf and let everyone else read into what we do. It definitely never crosses my mind too much of how or why or what's the main reasons to it. And I'd be asked quite regular, what are you doing that's getting you there? But it's just golf is a game that you can be very smart and get around the golf course quite easily. And maybe that's just the wiseness to us now is helping us. We're not the longest, but we can keep going.
Yeah, I think that's the key, because watching you play, and you know, players might be taking driver and trying to bomb it over these dunes and the links, but you'll take out a 2 or 3 iron and just tip it down there and have the next shot. I'm in play. I can do what I like from here.
Yeah, that's it. It's just it's a number on a scorecard at the end of it, and once it's not too high, you should do okay.
You're not a stats guy.
Definitely not.
No.
No, I've had my years of trying it and failing badly at just not putting them in. Get plenty of abuse from our coach Mick and our captain of the Irish setup now that it's got to the point where I have to do it, and it's taken a bit of an adjustment for me, but it's been done. Mightn't be done on time, but it's going to be done at some point. And look, I can see the reason for it now with especially in the Irish setup. It's to see what we do differently to someone else. Maybe gives them a good insight into how to get around the golf course at times through seeing what we do and seeing what we're good at, what we could tidy up on, and then, as I say, bring that on to coaching panels, especially the under 18s and under 16 stuff. Now there's a big push in that side of it, so having that insight into how we do it is a nice thing for them.
You're a very laid back character, as everybody knows, I'm sure, on the circuit. Like, would you be a deep thinker of the game at all? Like you mentioned, you're not a stats guy, so when you play around, you finish, whether it's gone well or it's gone poorly, do you reflect on it, or are you like, right, club's away for the night, just go at it again tomorrow?
Yeah, clubs are away. Bad rounds, I'll be like a wasp for a couple of hours after it maybe, but I wouldn't be thinking about the golf. I'd be just more annoyed at what happened. Good days, you go away and everything's jolly, you don't have to worry about anything. So I just kind of sit in that middle ground of never get too high, never get too low, and as I say, it's 4-round tournaments, so if the first day doesn't go well, you always have the next day to better it.
And are you aware when players are playing with you, like players that might be coming up through the ranks, like in the final round, you Caolan McCanna playing with you, a complete new experience for him. Are you aware that they might be overawed by the situation and playing with somebody like you and your name and what you've achieved?
Yeah, like I try to make everyone as comfortable as I can be. I treat every game of golf like I'm playing on a Saturday with the lads in Dundalk, and plenty of slagging, plenty of joking, and obviously you have to be careful because some people don't really want that on the course, so you try your best to just make it as casual as possible. As I say, I don't pass a lot of remarks of what anyone's doing around me. If they hit a good shot, I'm always going to say a good shot. If they hit a bad shot, it's just saying nothing because you wouldn't want anyone saying it to you, so you just have to know your place, I suppose, in the golf course a little bit.
And just going back to the north there briefly again, and this is by no way in trying to take away your achievement or anything. I don't want to come across, condescending, but it was something that I noticed, and obviously the 2 groups ahead, staying back to not sign a card and watch you, was really brilliant, and I actually enjoyed looking at that. But there just wasn't very many spectators at this, and I was thinking if you'd done what you'd done at the south, the west, or the east, like the pairs would have been packed, and it would have been like this massive uproar of celebration, where it was a little bit flat, and I'm sure you maybe noticed it as well. And like, is that down to maybe just promoting the North, or are we pushing it? And I know they changed the date and the format as well. Like, it just seems to be something we just can't quite get right with that tournament.
Yeah, look, time of year, probably a lot of people in that area, it's a very holiday destination, really. Like, it's holiday homes and it's people there for the summer. So potentially just the time of year, there wasn't that many people floating around anyway. And also then the weather was chilly enough when we were finishing, so it mightn't have been the most appealing thing to come out and watch the last few holes. But look, there was a few there. It's something that's probably noticeable in certain venues. Is definitely gets a better crowd. Whether that's down to having someone local, like even at the east there, it was full. The south, I've never seen a crowd like it at the south. But again, it was local people who were doing well in them. So whether that has a big draw to it as well, I'm not sure. But yeah, look, as I say, the North is one that it'll be nice to get its status back, because I do think it's a great tournament with great venues up there. There's 3 fantastic golf courses to choose from. And obviously Portstewart was in great condition yesterday, so it was nice to play it.
And you mentioned the Walker Cup is your big motivation for next year. Like, where do you actually get the motivation, say, on a normal year? At the end of the year, you've packed the clubs up for a little while, and you're getting ready to go back out again, and you're not someone who practices too hard, and you don't play too much either. Like, when you do play, like, you missed one cut in the last 4 years. I mean, it's remarkable consistency. Like, where do you get that motivation to keep competing?
It's just, I love playing golf. As much as I give out about it, and people probably say that's a lie, I do actually enjoy playing golf. Getting to go out and try and play good golf is always something you want to do, and if the bad days are there, what about it? You just kind of have to keep going. But yeah, a little bit of the start of the year is driven from everyone around me to, right, this is coming up, or the competitions are starting again. You have to get your act together, and in fairness, it does take that sometimes. But as we touched on, it's the competitive side is in you. You want to play them, and once you see the entry date coming close, it's like, I'll enter it and see how it goes, and that's what gets you going again.
Yeah, all of a sudden you win 4 of them.
Yeah, it's not always like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a remarkable career, and especially in the last 12 months, the consistency has been fantastic. And like, do you see the end of the line in terms of like when you're going to be at your pomp? Because job and family might get in the way, and other things like you're early 30s at the moment. Do you maybe put a cap on when you're going to be at your best, or when you might stop?
Yeah, no, it's just I'll keep going for as long as I can, and as long as I can get away with it. But at a certain time will come, should I say, where maybe doing the overseas events and maybe getting too many weeks away will become too much. And look, I haven't had a family holiday in a long time, so I think these sort of things will definitely take priority over a game of golf in the near future. But as I say, next year's kind of a decision has been nearly made already, which is the first time in a long time that I can say this far out from a season that I've said I want to give it a good go next year. So we'll just take next year as it comes and decide what to do after that.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't be allowed to bring the clubs on a family holiday, would you?
No.
Would you get away with that?
I think on a family holiday, it's when the feet go up and we relax. There's plenty of travel with them clubs attached to you throughout the year. So to be able to, if we can get away and not have to bring them, it'd be nice.
And just finally, before I let you go, if you were to pick one standout memory, good or bad, from your amateur career to date, what would it be? Doesn't even have to be a victory.
There's that many of them now. Like there's plenty of bad ones, but the good outweigh the bad at this stage. As we've kind of the main reason I'm here, being able to have my name on the 4 trophies. Obviously, I still remember each one final hole, waiting for the result. The good ones and the bad ones, which we've kind of touched on with the East. So it's there's no standout alone memory, as I say. Potentially, if we had to pick one, the Walker Cup, obviously that first tee, getting to hit a shot and seeing the crowd and listening to everyone cheering you on, and that sort of buzz again you get. That's something that kind of sticks. But individual wise, they're all as equal as the next.
Yeah. Are the first 2 nerves as big as people say, like in terms of not being able to see the golf ball and just shaking and shivering?
I'll never forget, I was praying I could hit driver off the first just for a big head, but it just happened to be a 3-iron that week off the first tee, and I came close to the out of bounds and the right twice, but I was lucky enough to stay and play. But no, it's a daunting experience knowing, look, they're all there to cheer you on, but at the same time it's a big crowd there that you want to perform well at.
It must be like, I don't know, going out to sing on a stage or something. Once you get started, you're away, and you can settle down and be comfortable then,
As soon as you get off that tee, it's like it's another game of golf. You're out in the windy links of High Lake. It just happened to be warm that week, but it's just out playing a game of golf.
Okay, well, hopefully that first tee experience can come again in Lahinch in just under 12 months' time. Caolan, really, really appreciate you coming in today and sampling our wonderful new studio as well. And they look beautiful with the trophies behind you as well. So we thank you for coming in, and thanks everybody for tuning in as well. You can track Caolan's results over the next year or so on irishgolfer.ie, and I'm sure the winning hasn't stopped yet. So thanks very much, and we'll chat to you next week.